Hi students, am I perfectly audible and visible? Am I audible? Am I visible? Hello students. Hi everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Hi guys. Hi guys. Hi guys. So welcome everyone. Welcome to Unacademy NEET English. I'm your biology educator Ambika Sharma, and today it is the first lecture of our Infinity series. Okay students, so this is a series that we have started on YouTube for our NEET 2025 aspirants. So it is the first, or I can say it is a first proper academic lecture for NEET 2025. Right? It is a proper academic lecture for the students of NEET 2025. So, how are you all doing, guys? Right? Is there anything where I can help you? Because today we are going to start our lecture. Right, bache? We are going to start the cell, basic unit of life. So, we are going to start from a very basic chapter today. And trust me, you guys are going to find this lecture very useful. You guys are going to love the content and you are going to love the biology. Okay? Yes, you are going to love the biology. So this Infinity series, it is for the YouTube. Already you people know that on our platform, right, we are already taking a batch, that is Phoenix 2.0 batch, right students? But here on YouTube, so Phoenix 2.0, don't get confused students, that is why I'm telling you Phoenix 2.0 is the batch that we are already taking on our platform for the droppers. But yes, this Infinity series is for the YouTube and for the NEET 2025 aspirants. Okay, okay, so let's start our first chapter. And still, before starting the lecture, I want to tell you, I know the situation is chaotic. I know there are so many things around. I know it is hampering your mental health as well. But you know that life is all about moving on. Okay, okay, so if you guys are targeting NEET 2025, okay, if you people are targeting NEET 2025, if you have decided that whatever is happening, it's fine, we hope for the justice and we want to prepare for the NEET because we want to be the doctors, then obviously you have to start your preparation, right bache, and you have to be sincere for your studies. Okay, so keeping all that things in our mind, we have started this lecture. Okay, and let's go, let's start, let's discuss it. So are you people ready for the class? Are you people ready for the class? So I want to see the energy here in the chat section. After all, it is the first session. It is the first session. So guys, I want to see your energy here. Yes people, I want to see some energy here, some fire emojis. Let's forget everything and let's focus on one thing, that is cell. Let's focus on one thing, that is cell. So let's get started people, let's get started. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Energy in the chat section, some fire emojis in the chat section, and quickly hit the like button and make sure you have your NCERT, you have your notebook, because you have to make the notes as well. You have to highlight the things from the NCERT, right? NCERT. So quick guys, very good, very good, very good. The energy should be high. Excellent, excellent. Finally, you are starting for your NEET preparation. Yes, guys. Finally, you are starting for your NEET preparation once again. So, I want to see that energy in the chat section. Excellent. So, let's start, guys. Let's start. And the chapter, right, that I am going to start, as you all know, it is cell. But why, ma'am? Why? Why are you picking up this chapter? If we see the sequence of class 11th biology or class 12th biology, we know that we have the living world chapter, we have the biological classification, we have the plant kingdom. Then why are we starting from the cell? Because it's very simple. Cell is the basic unit of life, right? When it comes to biology, right, we are talking about what? Biology, right? Right now, forget about botany, forget about zoology. Focus on this word, that is biology, right? So biology, right? Biology, logy means study. Study. Bio means life, right? So when we study the life, when we study the living organisms, we say it is the biology, right? We say it is the biology. So when we talk about the living organisms, students, so when we talk about the living organisms, when we say something is living, yes, when we say something is living, so we talk about the cell, right? Cell, the basic unit of life. And you all know this particular thing, that it is the, yes students, it is the basic structural and functional unit of life. What is it? It is the basic structural and functional unit of life. So this is what we need to start first. है ना? So if we are talking about the biology, first of all we should know about its basic unit, isn't it? For this particular chapter you can open your new NCERT. Okay, right? So basic, structural and functional unit of life. But ma'am, why are you saying so? That it is the basic, structural and functional unit of life? Why? Because bache, you can talk about any of the living organism, right? The cell is going to be the basic thing. Without the level of cell, there is no independent existence of life. It is something bare minimum, right? Okay. So because it is making the structure of living organisms, ultimately in a living organism there will be the cellular organization, right? That basic unit cell will be there. This is the first point. Second point is that, right, at the level of this cell, all the activities like metabolism will be there, right? If I'm talking about a multicellular body, right, we are what? We are a multicellular body, yes or no? Tell me students. Yes bache. Arun, tell me. Arun, Saucy, everyone. Yes, what are we? The multicellular organisms? Yes or no? Yes, we are multicellular organism. So in our case, we know that the organ systems are there, right? They are taking care of the functioning of our body, right? But ultimately where everything is happening at the level of cell. Okay, so basically you need to understand the basics here. Right? I will relate the complete biology. I will relate everything. Don't be like, oh my god, it is a class 11 chapter, so you have to discuss that part only. No. We are studying biology for NEET. That is what you need to keep in your mind. Okay, so even in a multicellular body, the reactions, the metabolism will be there at the level of cell. You know that, right? At the level of cell. I'll give you one example. See, a cell. What are you going to see here? Let's not talk about the prokaryotic and eukaryotic part yet. Let's discuss the basic things. So basically in the nucleus, what do we have? Right? What do we have? We have the genetic material. Right? DNA basically, and we talk about the cytoplasm, isn't it? So this cytoplasm and genetic material, it makes the protoplasm. This cytoplasm and this genetic material, it makes the protoplasm, right? So this genetic material, right, the DNA, the genes here, right, they will make the proteins. They will control the activity of the cell. And when you talk about the cytoplasm, students, it is the main arena of cellular activities. All the cellular activities, that metabolism, it will take place here, right? So this cytoplasm and this genetic material, what is it making? It is making protoplasm, and that protoplasm is the physical basis of life, bache. So ultimately all the chemical reactions, the metabolism, it will occur at the level of cell. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Yes or no? Is it clear? Now, what is going to happen in a living body? Pay attention, okay? Pay attention. So, we will have cell. So, students, we have unicellular organisms also. A single cell can also live. It can conduct all the basic things required, right, to be living. Okay, and in the cell, you know that in the cytoplasm, chemical reactions will be there. So we have unicellular organisms also. Now so many cells together, they are going to make the tissue, group of cells, right? So firstly we have the cell, the basic unit of life, the basic structural and functional unit of life. So the group of cell, right? Group of cell having similar structure, function and same origin, they are going to make the tissue. Group of cells having similar structure, function and the same origin, they are going to make the tissue. Okay, so when we talk about a tissue, always remember, students, they may have similar or dissimilar structure and function, but the origin should always be same. In a tissue, all the cells should have common origin. Then that so many tissues together, they will form organ. So many organs together, they are going to make organ system. And so many organ system together are going to make what? They are going to make organism. Are you getting it? Right? This is the, right? Are you getting it? This hierarchy. So cell will form tissue, so many tissues will form organ, organs will form organ system, and organ systems are going to form organism. Right? So organ systems are going to form organism. So that organism is the basic unit of that ecological hierarchy. Okay? Ecology is also the part of our syllabus. Ecology is also the part of our syllabus. Right, bache? So the ecological hierarchy, when you talk about the ecological hierarchy, then the basic unit is organism. But when we are saying life, so we have to start with the cell. We have to start with the cell. Any doubt here? Any doubt here? The cell, the protoplasm, this part clear? Right? Basics they are. Right? This part clear? Sure? If it is a yes, do let me know. I want to see some thumbs up in the chat section, guys. I want to see some thumbs up in the chat section, guys. Be quick. Quick, quick, quick. Yes? Is that clear? So cell, tissue, organ system and organisms. Cell, tissue, organ system and organisms. Right, bache? Okay. So here protoplasm is the physical basis of life, because protoplasm will include the cytoplasm where all the cellular activities will be done, and the genetic material is there which is going to control that. Okay. So that is why both the things they are making protoplasm the physical basis of life. Okay. Right. Okay. Fine. Now let's go. Now what we need to discuss in this particular chapter. In this particular chapter, we will discuss the overview of cell. Then bache, we will also talk about the prokaryotic cell and the eukaryotic cell. We will also see the differences in plant cell and animal cell, and we have to read all the organelles and their function in detail. Okay, all the organelles and their function in detail. So if I talk about the NEET examination, you people can expect 3 to 4 questions from this particular chapter. Okay, at least 3 to 4 questions you guys can expect from this particular chapter. Understood? Understood? So any doubt here? Clear? Right? It is clear, right? So now if I talk about the cell, what do you think? The cell is made up of what? Yes, you people answer this question to me. Please, you people answer this question to me. Quick. Quick. Cell is made up of what? Cell is made up of what? Quick, quick, quick. I'm waiting for your answer. You have to be quick. Though these are the YouTube classes, but let's make it interactive. What say, guys? Yes? No one is ready to answer the question, hai na? Ma'am, cell is made up of what? Right? Let's say if you are talking about a cell, right? Let's start from the atom. Atoms, so many atoms together. Molecules together. Elements will form compounds. You will have inorganic and organic compounds, and they are basically, right, that monomers, that polymers, they are basically going to form the cell, and that is also we need to discuss. Okay. So let's focus on the next part. So as I said, it is the basic unit of life, right, students? So now we have unicellular as well as multicellular organisms. What do we have? We have unicellular and multicellular organism. So when I'm saying unicellular organism, as the name is saying, uni means single. So it will be a single-celled organism. Wait, let me write it properly. Unicellular organism and multicellular organism. So when the word is unicellular, uni means single. So it's a single-celled organism. So I'll give you one example, amoeba. Right? I'll give you the example of amoeba. So amoeba is what? Amoeba is a unicellular organism, and it is capable of living by its own. Right? It can eat, it can divide, you know that. Okay, so amoeba is the example of unicellular organism. So independently, it will take care of all the cellular activities. Fine, bache. Now, if I talk about the unicellular organisms, you know that we have to include few kingdoms, right? Like kingdom Monera. Okay, don't be like, ma'am, you are going beyond NCERT. No, it's the part of NCERT. It's just that I am connecting two different chapters. So kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, right? If I talk about the kingdoms, you know now we have 5 kingdoms. You know now we have 5 kingdoms. Basically 6 kingdoms are also there, but in our syllabus we study that 5 kingdom classification system. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? This is what we discuss. Do you remember that? We discuss about the 5 kingdom classification system, isn't it? 5 kingdom classification system. Can you name that? Can you name that? Right. So if you remember it, very good. Otherwise I am going to write it here. You can also write it down. It is again the part of your syllabus. So you know that as per R.H. Whittaker, right bache, as per R.H. Whittaker, we have 5 kingdoms. How many kingdoms? 5 kingdoms. So kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae. Everyone please repeat it with me. And kingdom Animalia is there. Okay, and kingdom Animalia is there. These are the 5 kingdoms that we discuss as per R.H. Whittaker classification system. So here, this kingdom Monera, it is also having unicellular organisms, bache. Here in kingdom Protista, here also we are having unicellular organisms. Meaning these 2 kingdoms are of unicellular organisms, right bache? These 2 kingdoms, they are of unicellular organisms. Kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista. In the fungi also we have examples like yeast. It is again a unicellular fungus. Okay, right? So such type of exceptions are there. In the Plantae, you know that we also discussed chlorella, right? But that is basically a unicellular. That is basically a unicellular eukaryotic cell. So we also consider it in kingdom Protista. So don't get confused. Okay. So basically these 2 kingdoms, they involve what? The unicellular, the single celled organisms. But what is the next point that you need to remember? That kingdom Monera will have prokaryotic cell, right? Prokaryotes are involved there. And from Protista, fungi, Plantae and Animalia, here all the members, they are eukaryotic. Which cell is there? Eukaryotic cell. We will also discuss what is prokaryotes, what are prokaryotes, what are eukaryotes. This is what we are going to discuss. Don't worry about it. So I am saying kingdom Monera, kingdom Monera. So what is included in kingdom Monera? Unicellular prokaryotes. Unicellular prokaryotes. Basically we are talking about the bacteria here. What are we discussing here? Bacteria. What are we discussing here? Bacteria, right? So bacteria is there in the kingdom Monera. Okay, so in kingdom Protista, in kingdom Fungi, in kingdom Plantae, in kingdom Animalia, you have the eukaryotic cell. So here in this chapter, we also need to learn that what is the difference in a prokaryotic and a eukaryotic cell. Okay, and you can take it as your homework. You have to mention it in your notes. Okay, you have to mention it in your notes. Understood? So bacteria here and here eukaryotes. So these 2 kingdoms are having unicellular organisms. So can you tell me the amoeba? Amoeba belongs to Monera or Protista? Can you just tell me amoeba, it belongs to Monera or Protista? Yes, amoeba belongs to Monera or Protista. Tell me. Tell me. Hi, please give me the correct answer, otherwise I will get the heart attack. All is well. They'll give you the correct answer. Oh, thank God, thank God, thank God. Of course, amoeba is a eukaryote. Why? See, the nucleus. Okay, so when you talk about the bacteria, so bacteria, it is a prokaryotic cell, belongs to kingdom Monera. Okay, so independent existence is there. Now, as I said, multicellular organisms are also there. Okay, multicellular organisms are also there. So when we talk about the multicellular organisms, means they are having so many cells. So I will relate it, right students? I am going to relate it with animal kingdom. Where am I going to relate it? I am going to relate it with animal kingdom. right? So in animal kingdom, all the organisms are multicellular. So we know that we have the different phylums there, and we have the different levels of organization, like cellular, like tissue, like organ system level of organization, organ level of organization, and organ system level of organization. Now ma'am, what is the meaning of this thing? Here I simply want to say that in animal kingdom we will also see multicellular organisms where tissue is not there, like your porifera, right? Porifera, cycon, pore bearing organisms. We will also see the phylums where only tissue level organization is there, means in that body only tissues are present, that is group of cells. Then organs are there, like your platyhelminths, flatworms, they have the organs. And then finally you have the organ system level of organization, right? Like Askelmans to chordata, this is what we are going to see. So they are the multicellular organism. So I can simply say that when I move from unicellular to multicellular organisms, basically a kind of, we are moving from, I can say that I'm moving from simplicity to complexity. Can I say so? Can I say so? Yes or no? Can I say so? Yes or no? Can I say so? Definitely I can. That we are moving from simplicity to complexity. We have picked up an organism having single cell. Now we are talking about the multicellular organisms. So why am I relating it with animal kingdom? Because I want to show you students that here you will see that some animals, they will just have group of cells. Okay. Some animals, they just have tissue, multicellular structures that has formed tissue. Then organ system will be there. So obviously here also the division of labor will be there. What is the meaning of this thing? Division of labor. Let me explain. What is the meaning of this thing, that is division of labor? Let me explain. Let me explain. Okay, let me explain. It's very simple. Okay, it is very simple. Division of labor. See, now let's talk about the humans. In our case, we have excretory system for excretion. We have digestive system for digestion. We have nervous system for control and coordination. Okay, so etc. So basically we have different systems, and that different systems are going to play their role. So in a unicellular organism, that single cell was taking care of everything, but in multicellular organisms we will see the division of labor is there. Even in this multicellular thing, some cells will do one job, some group of cells will do another job, same for the tissue, same for the organ, and in organ system we can see that there will be the different systems for it. So that is how the living organisms, they are going to exist, right Bache? That is how the living organisms, they are going to exist. Can you see that? Can you see that? So now let's understand this part from NCERT as well. But before that, please take a screenshot, and I want you people to make such kind of notes. So here you guys can see that in the starting of the chapter, I'm explaining these things. The scientists and their discovery. What are we discussing here? The scientists and their discovery, right? The scientists and their discovery. So yes, it is important for your NCERT, right? Or for your NEET, okay? You can get questions from this part. You can get questions from this part. Okay, so Anton von Leeuwenhoek, what he discovered, Robert Brown, what he discovered. So yes, you can take the screenshot, and one by one we will discuss it as well. So here you guys can see, as I said, we have to discuss two types of cells in this particular chapter, prokaryotic and eukaryotic. So I'll just give you the overview. Again I'm saying, I will just give you the overview here, then in detail we will discuss it. Primitive, carry-on word, karyotic, carry-on word. This carry-on word is associated with the nucleus, right? That carry-on means nucleus. What is the meaning of that carry-on? It means nucleus. It means nucleus. Clear, bache? So primitive, P for primitive. So when you talk about a prokaryotic cell, it's a primitive cell. It is a primitive cell. In the kingdom Monera only, right? Only in this one particular kingdom, that is kingdom Monera, you students are going to see the prokaryotic cell. So prokaryotic cell means you are talking about the bacteria. What are you discussing, students? You are talking about the bacteria. What are you discussing, students? You are talking about the bacteria. So here we will see that there is no well-defined nucleus. What are we going to see? That there will be no well-defined nucleus. The genetic material is directly there in the cytoplasm. We are not going to discuss the organelles here. We will only talk about the ribosome here, right? And there are many such differences that we need to discuss. And when you talk about the eukaryotic cell, so U means true. U means true. So karyon, true karyon. So here we will see a well-defined nucleus. What are we going to see here? We are going to see a well-defined nucleus. Right, students? A well-defined nucleus. So in which kingdoms you will see the prokaryotic cell? Can you answer this question once again? We have to repeat the things, right? Because we want to retain them. So Protista, fungi, plantae, animalia. Protista, fungi, plantae, animalia. So these 4 kingdoms will have eukaryotic cells. Okay? Okay, so in eukaryotic cells also we will see the different types, like your fungal cell, like your plant cell, like your animal cell. Okay? Okay, what are we going to discuss here? Right? So we will also discuss the fungal cell, plant cell and their differences, of course, and even the animal cell. Even the animal cell. Is it clear? Even the animal cell. Is it clear? So one more diagram. One more diagram. So see the eukaryotic proper nucleus, the prokaryotic like this. Okay? Okay. So let's read this part from the NCERT, because ultimately we have to master NCERT. What we have to do, guys? What we have to do? We have to, yes, be quick. We have to master the NCERT. Yes or no? We have to master the NCERT. So NCERT is saying that when we see around, we see both living and non-living things. Yes, ma'am. Definitely. Definitely. We see living and non-living things. So we have seen that. So basically they are saying that you must have wondered and asked yourself, what is it? And what is it that makes an organism living? Why organisms are living? Why is it so? Right? So the answer to this is the presence of this basic unit, that is your cell. Of course it is. So they are saying all organisms, they are composed of cell. So if something is living, means it is having cell. It is having cell. Again I am repeating this, bache. Below the level of cell, there is no independent existence of life. Below the level of cell, there is no independent existence of life. So here you all can see that all organisms are composed of cells. Fine. All organisms are composed of cells. So some are having the single cell, some are having the many cells. They are making multicellular organism. Okay, this is what we have discussed. Now, what is a cell? Right? What is a cell? So they are saying here, they are explaining about the unicellular and multicellular organism. That unicellular organisms, they are capable of independent existence. Yes, ma'am. They can perform the essential functions of life. Right? So anything less than a complete structure of, guys, please highlight it in your NCERT, that anything, my bad, yes. So anything less than a complete structure of a cell does not ensure independent living. Anything less than a complete structure of cell does not ensure independent living. Even your cell organelle, right, they cannot live. Like your mitochondria, chloroplasts, they are not going to live by their own. They require this minimum setup. Okay, they require this minimum setup. So anything less than a complete structure of cell does not ensure independent living. So that is why cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Is that clear? So now they are talking about the scientists. So let's discuss that part. Okay, let's discuss that part. Right? So are you ready? Okay, so let's go, students. See, so first of all, we are going to talk about Mr. Robert Hooke. Who's he? Do you know about him? Mr. Robert Hooke. Do you know about him? Do you know about him? PPT visibility is not good. Acha, adjustment, light adjustment, good. Don't worry. I'll look into it, okay? I will look into it. If it is not clear, we'll figure out something, okay? One second. I'll decrease the brightness. Chalo, I'll do it later because now we have the dark slides only. So, we are going to talk about the Robert Hooke. So, Robert Hooke, he coined the term. He coined the term cell. He was the first one. He was the first one who used this term. Actually, what happened? Robert Hooke in 1665, he was the first one who coined the term cell, or you can say that Robert Hooke discovered. He discovered and coined the term cell in 1665. Actually, what happened, bache? He was observing the bark of a tree, right? Bark of tree under the microscope. So obviously by then the microscopes, they were not so advanced, right? Because now microscopes, they are advanced, right? Now microscopes, they are advanced, right, bache? Right, bache? So what am I saying? I am saying that microscopes, they are advanced now, and due to which we are able to see the internal structure of cell. We can see it at microscopic level as well, right? But by then the microscopes, they were not so advanced, okay? So he observed the bark of a tree under the microscope, right? And obviously it was a kind of simple microscope, and he observed some compartment-like structures, right? Some compartment-like structure, some very small compartment-like structures. And for such structures, he used the term cellulae, which is now known as cell, right? For that, he used the term cellulae, and it is now known as what? It is now known as cell. Is that clear? It is now known as cell. Is that clear? Tell me quickly. Tell me. Yes? Yes. Right? So cellulae is the term, and now it is known as cell. So he observed it under the microscope. And in some books it is also referred now that such structures, they look like the honeycomb, right? That these structures, they look like the honeycomb. Yes or no? It looks like the honeycomb, right? So this is the term that he has used. So basically Robert Hooke, he explained all that things, right? So he was an English scientist. So he mentioned everything in his book Micrographia, right? In his book Micrographia. So you can write down the name of the book as well, right? You can write down the name of the book as well. So Robert Hooke, he introduced the term cell, he discovered the cell, and he published everything in his book Micrographia. Understood? Okay, understood. So this is what he observed under the microscope, right? It looks like, right? It looks like some compartments. That is why he used the word cellulae, which is known as cell now. So basically we know that bark of the tree. What is that bark? Right, that bark of the tree. It is having that secondary cell wall. You know that it is basically the dead cell. You know it or not? You all know it. Basically it is what? It is a dead cell. What is it, bache? It's a dead cell. Why? Because this cell is not containing any protoplasm. It is without protoplasm. It is without protoplasm. It is not having any protoplasm. It's the dead cell. You know, the bark of the tree, secondary cell walls are there only. No protoplasm is there. So he was the first one who discovered the cell, who coined the term cell. He published it in his books Micrographia, but ultimately it was not the living cell, but it was the dead cell. Then bache, the another scientist, Anton von Leeuwenhoek. He observed, right? So first scientist Robert Hooke, second scientist that we need to discuss is Anton von Leeuwenhoek. So Anton von Leeuwenhoek, then with time, you know, advancements were there in the microscope. So I'm not saying his microscope was that advanced, but still it was better than Robert Hooke's microscope, and he was able to observe some moving creatures under the microscope. Like in a drop of water, he was able to see some moving creatures, right, bache? And he also observed the structure of the sperm also, right? He also used the word animalcules. right, for such moving creatures? Yes or no? He used the term animalcules, right? Animalcules for such moving structure that he observed under the microscope. So Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he was the one who discovered first living cell. It's a previous year question, right? He discovered first living cell. Okay, that is a previous year question. Understood? That is a previous year question. So if someone is asking dead cell, Robert Hooke, but if in the question they are asking the living cell, that will be your, who discovered it? Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Who discovered it? Anton von Leeuwenhoek. So now come to this part of NCERT, right? You can open your NCERT. It is given in NCERT that Anton von Leeuwenhoek first saw and described a live cell. Robert Brown later, right? So Anton von Leeuwenhoek first saw and described a live cell, and I told you he observed everything under the microscope and he used the term animalcules for that moving structures. Okay, bache, for that moving structures. And right, Robert Brown later he discovered the nucleus. So yes, the name of the scientist, it is important, right? It is important. Clear, bache? Name of the scientist, it is important. So who discovered the nucleus? Robert Brown. Who discovered the nucleus? Robert Brown. And he discovered it in the roots of orchid plant. Okay, roots of orchid plant. Understood? Right? So this is all about the discoveries here. So again I am saying we are only talking about the few discoveries that are given in NCERT, but if you will read it in detail, bache, we also see that some scientists, they discovered the protoplasm. They name it SAR code. Then later on, right, it was renamed as protoplasm. So there are many such discoveries that we don't discuss. Okay, that we don't discuss, but because we have to stick to the NCERT, we are preparing for the NEET examination. So this part clear? Anyone having any doubt? Anyone having any doubt? Yes, if it is a yes, do let me know in the chat section, guys, and be quick. Do let me know in the chat section and be quick. Robert Brown. Okay, Robert Brown discovered it. Okay. So now the next topic that we need to discuss is cell theory. What is the next topic that we need to discuss? We need to talk about the cell theory. But before discussing the cell theory, we need to talk about, we need to discuss two scientists. Okay, Schleiden and Schwann. Schleiden and Schwann. You have to remember it. It is a previous year question. You have to remember it. Schleiden and Schwann. So Malthus Schleiden and bache Schwann is there. Theodor Schwann. Right? Malthus Schleiden and next is what? Theodor Schwann. So this is what we need to discuss. So let me tell you what's the story here. So we had two scientists. One is Schleiden and another is Schwann. Now when you talk about these scientists, yes, you have to remember who's the zoologist here, who's the botanist here. Why? Because it is a previous year question of AIDS. Right? It is a previous year question of AIDS. Clear, bache? Schleiden and Schwann. Now let me explain. Schwann, on. Right? Schwann the sheep. You know that Schwann the sheep. Right? Sheep, animal. So zoologist. He was the zoologist. Right? So definitely if Schwann is a zoologist, so Schleiden will be a botanist. Schleiden will be a botanist. Is that clear? Is that clear? So who's a botanist? The one who's going to study plants. The one who's going to do what? Who's going to study plants. And Schwann, he's going to study animals. Isn't it? Isn't it? Zoologists, they will study animals, and the botanists, they are going to study the plants. So Schleiden and Schwann, these are the two words that we have. Right? Schleiden and Schwann, these are the two words that we have. Right? So now they studied the cells independently. Right? No doubt when we discuss cell theory, it is a very important question. It is a very important question. So when we discuss cell theory, we need to talk about the Schleiden and the Schwann, but they worked independently. They were not sitting together in a lab and they studied something and on the basis of that they gave cell theory. No. They were working independently. Right? Let's say you are working somewhere, let's say you are working in Telangana, I'm working in Delhi, okay, and we don't know each other, but basically we came to same conclusion because all the scientists, they published their result in different journals, right? So obviously, right, on the basis of that, we combine and we say the Schleiden and Schwann, they gave the cell theory, okay. Okay, so botanist, what is the role of a botanist? To study the plants. And Schleiden, he studied the plants, and he observed that plants, they are made up of cells and product of cells. Wait, let me show you. See this part, cell theory. So yes, bache, year is also important. Year is also important. Jaise Schleiden 1838, right? Schwann 1839. Year is also important. Okay, so let's discuss that. So in 1838, Matthias, I mentioned Malthius, no, it's Matthias, my bad. Matthias Schleiden, a German botanist, examined a large number of plants and observed that all plants are composed of different kind of cells which form the tissues of the plant. Like I used one line, plants, they are made up of cells and the product of cells. What is the meaning of product of cells? That's the terminology that I'm using now. Product of cells means like cells, they are forming tissue, tissues are making organ. So basically the tissue and organ, they are the product of cells only. Cells together are going to make it, right? Cells together are going to make it. So in 1838, Matthias Schleiden, a German botanist, he examined large number of plants and observed that all the plants are composed of different kind of cells which form the tissue of the plant. Okay, which form the tissue of the plant. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes. But at the same time, Theodor Schwann in 1839, a British zoologist, one was a German botanist and he was a British zoologist. He studied different types of animal cells. What he did, bache, he studied different type of animal cells and reported that cells had a thin outer layer. I'll come to this, right? So I'll give you one example, but firstly I'll try to adjust this brightness thing, okay? Let me see. Guys, is it fine? Is it better? Is it fine? Is it better? Yes? Is it better? I think it is. You tell me in the chats. Anji, now is it fine? I cannot see your charts. I cannot see your charts. Screen is clear, right? Now it's fine, right? Karan? Better na? Better? Okay. So, British zoologist. So, you can say that I can explain it in two different ways. One is that you can consider Theodor Schwann as a very curious person, obviously, right? He was a scientist. He has to be curious. Okay. And another thing is like that, you know, CCTVs are common CCTVs, right? Our neighbor aunties, hai na, they are the CCTVs, na? Neighbor aunties, they are the CCTVs. They are not going to mind their own business, but they want to see who's doing this, right? Where that Sharma ji's daughter is going, right? Why is she holding someone's hand, or why that Sharma ji ka beta, right? Why he's not going to the school and what is he doing? You know it very well. So in the case of Schwann was a zoologist, but he still studied some plants. Okay, he was a zoologist, but he still studied some plants, right? So yeah, being a zoologist, you should study the animal cell only. But he was like, nah, I will study plants also. I'm going to study plants also. Hai na? I have to see this. I have to see this, what plants are having, that animals are lacking. Okay, so he observed that when we talk about an animal cell, so they are having a very thin outer layer, right? They are covered with a very thin outer layer, and you know that we call that outer layer as plasma membrane or plasma lemma. Right? By then the name was not given to this, but that thin outer layer, today it is known as plasma lemma. Yes, bache, today it is known as plasma lemma. And he also observed that in the case of plants, they have one additional layer that is missing in the animals, and that is what? It is the cell wall. That is what? It is the cell wall, right? So the Schleiden, he didn't report that plants are having, you know, the cell wall, but animals are not having that. But Sean, he observed it and he mentioned it, right? So let's revise it from NCERT also. So you guys can see here, you people can see here that zoologist. So Theodore Sean in 1839, a British zoologist, studied different type of animal cells and reported that cells are having a thin outer layer, which is today known as plasma membrane, and you can also use the word plasma lemma. It is one and the same thing. Okay. Secondly, he also concluded based on his studies on plant tissue. See, neighbor auntie also want to know, he wants to know about the plants. So the presence of cell wall is a unique character of a plant cell. Okay, it's a unique character of a plant cell. So on the basis of this, Sean proposed the hypothesis that bodies of animals and plants, they are composed of cells and products of cell. So yes, this line, this actual line, the products of cell, and this hypothesis line, so it was proposed by Sean. So it is also a previous year question. Okay, it is also a previous year question. Okay, so you should remember the name of the scientist here. This is what you need to note it down. In your NCERT, you can highlight it as well. Okay, you can highlight it as well. Now, Schleiden and Sean, together, their discoveries, right? As per their discoveries, together they were postulated as cell theory, right? They were formulated as cell theory. So, Schleiden and Sean together formulated cell theory. So, as per this cell theory, if I have to say cell theory, so who gave this cell theory? That is also a previous year question, students. Who gave the cell theory? Tell me, who gave the cell theory? Schleiden and Sean. Schleiden and Sean. Yes. So as per this cell theory, all living organisms are made up of cell. So cell is the basic unit of life. Cell is the basic unit of life. And secondly is, second main postulate is all living organisms are made up of cells and product of cells. Right, these are the two main postulates. Is it clear? Yes, students, is it clear? Hafiz, Gopal, everyone in the class, is it clear? Right, so this is the cell theory. So who gave the cell theory? Schleiden and Sean. Who gave the cell theory? Schleiden and Sean. But bache, they were not able to explain that how these cells are existing, how are they dividing. Yeah, they were not able to explain anything like that. Okay, they were not able to explain anything like that. So as per them, you know, cells, they are arising by their own, like they don't have any idea. Okay, so it was putting a question mark on the cell theory, right? And it should, don't you think so? It should. Yes. Tell me. Don't you think it should? Huh? Don't you think it should? Like, these are the only two postulates that we are discussing, but it's not like that they have just mentioned these two things. Basically, it is the gist of the cell theory. It is the gist of the cell theory. So they also explained that cell is the basic unit of life. It is the smallest entity. It is made up of protoplasm, right, bache? So all the activities of a living organisms, they are the result of the interaction of the, all the activities of cell. That is what they have explained. Okay, that is what they have explained. But they were not able to explain that how these cells are arising. So now we have the name of another scientist. Right, we have the name of another scientist, and that scientist is Rudolf Virchow. Rudolf Virchow. What's the name of that scientist? Rudolf Virchow. He gave us a mantra, and that mantra is Omnis Cellula E Cellule. What is that mantra? It is Omnis Cellula E Cellule. Just to remember the spellings, na, I pronounce it like this. Okay, just to remember the spellings. So omnis cellula e cellule, omnis cellula e cellule. So guys, please and please, right, please and please write it in the chat section. Quick, write it in the chat section. Omnis cellula e cellule, omnis cellula e cellule, omnis cellula e cellule, omnis cellula e cellule. It's a mantra that you need to chant for next 7 days. Okay, right? It's a mantra that you need to chant for next 7 days. Okay, you have to repeat it again and again. You have to repeat it again and again. Okay, so who gave this omnis cellula e cellule? It is the Rudolf Virchow. It is also a previous year question. Fine, it is also a previous year question. Then now what is the meaning of this particular line? That cell exists from pre-existing cell. Cell exists from pre-existing cell. What is the meaning of this particular line? That cell exists from pre-existing cells. So already existing cells, they are going to form the new cells. Okay, they are going to form the new cells. So it was missing in the cell theory. Rudolf Virchow discovered it. So after it we got modified cell theory. After it we got modified cell theory. After it we got modified cell theory, and that modified cell theory is also known as cell principle. It is also known as cell doctrine. Okay, we also use these names for it. Fine. So this modified cell theory, it is also known as cell principle. It is also known as cell doctrine. Cell principle and cell doctrine. So I can say that here in the modified cell theory, we have the contribution of Matthias Schleiden and Theodor Schwann. Now it's plus Rudolf Virchow, plus Rudolf Virchow, plus Rudolf Virchow. Isn't it? Isn't it? So that is what you have to remember. Okay, so it is also important. Done, bache? It is also important. Now you can compare here. Okay, so see, Anton von Leeuwenhoek, first living cell, Robert Brown, nucleus, Matthias Schleiden, 1838, botanist, Schwann, 1839, zoologist, Rudolf Virchow, 1855. Again, we have to remember the years. Okay, so omnis cellula e cellule, right? Omnis cellula e cellule. So this part clear. So see, such type of notes can also help you to revise the things quickly, and in the chapter cell, definitely you should make it. Okay, definitely you should make it. Okay, done, bache? Okay, so now let's move to the next part. Let's move to the next part. Let's read it from NCERT. Then we will start the overview of cell, and then finally we will talk about the prokaryotic cell. Okay, so here you people can see Schleiden and Schwann together formulated the theory, right? But it did not explain how new cells were formed. So Rudolf Virchow in 1855 first explained that cells are divided and new cells are formed from pre-existing cell. New cells are formed from pre-existing cells. So it is omnis cellula e cellule. So he modified this hypothesis of Schleiden and Schwann, right? So he gave the cell theory a final shape, and as per that, all living organisms, they are composed of cells and product of cells, and all cells, they arise from pre-existing cells. So it is again important. Any doubt? Yes, Samiksha, Tanu, Gopal, Dushyant, Pavni. Any doubt? Sure. So scientist name clear? Okay, so next is the overview of cell. So before giving you that overview, again I am explaining this thing, bache. We have the prokaryotic cell, we have the eukaryotic cell. So when we talk about a prokaryotic cell, again you guys can see this image, right? So here you people can see, when we talk about the prokaryotic cell, we see that there is no well-defined nucleus. We are going to talk about the bacteria here. No nucleus is there, but genetic material is there. Okay, the genetic material is there in the cytoplasm. And in the case of prokaryote, that because that genetic material is in the cytoplasm, there is no well-defined nucleus, and for that we use the word nucleoid. Nucleoid. So you can also say devoid. Devoid means without, devoid of histones. It doesn't have histones. Okay, it doesn't have histone. So that is how you people can remember it. Okay, and if I talk about the cell organelles, we are not going to see any cell organelle here except ribosome. So in the bacteria, we will only see one non-membrane bound cell organelle, that is ribosome. But here you will see the proper compartmentalization of cytoplasm. What are we going to see? We are going to see the proper compartmentalization of cytoplasm. Like we will see that in cytoplasm there are some membrane bound structures, they are forming different organelles, right? And this is how they are dividing the cytoplasm into compartments, right? So this is the difference, the basic difference in prokaryotes and eukaryotes, the presence of well-defined nucleus and presence of the genetic material directly in the cytoplasm and about the organelles. So we will discuss it individually, but before that let's complete this part from the NCERT, that is the overview of cell. So are you ready for it? So you have to listen to me, and after that, right, after the class, make it a habit that you will read the NCERT again. Okay, after the class, this is what you have to do. You should read the NCERT again. Okay, and then highlight it. No doubt I am going to mention it, that you have to highlight this statement. It is a previous year question. You can write it in your notes. But again after the class, read the NCERT, revise the NCERT again and again, and then you should highlight it. That will be better for you. And guys, on this channel itself, I have posted one video. I don't know whether I'll be able to see it now or not. So I posted one video that how to read the NCERT to score 360 out of 360, right? So you guys can search it directly, and in that video now I have discussed all the issues that students face while reading the NCERT. This video, you people can check it, and it will be helpful for all of you, right? The proven strategy to score 360 out of 360 in biology, right? So this is what you people can check, right? How you need to read the biology, what you have to do, the books that you need to follow, everything is discussed in this particular video. Okay, everything is discussed in this particular video, so you can check it. Fine, you guys can check it. So now again, let's move to this part, the overview of cell. So you have earlier observed cells in an onion peel. Like in the schools, we do such experiments now. You can see the onion, when we cut the onion, right? That peel, that very thin whitish layer. Have you seen that ever? Yes, onion peel. We can take the cells from the human cheek, right? From inside, like this, right? I don't know whether you have done it in your school or not. Okay, so under the microscope we have to observe it, then we have to recollect their structure. So onion cell is an example of plant. Onion is an example of plant. So if it is a plant cell, it is going to have cell wall, yes or no? Yes, it is going to have cell wall, yes or no? Yes, ma'am. So onion cell is a typical plant cell, and it is going to have the cell wall as its outer boundary along with plasma membrane, right bache? So whenever we talk about a plant cell, we will see the cell membrane, and outside the cell membrane we are going to talk about a cell wall. So cell wall and cell membrane, also known as plasma membrane, also known as plasma lemma. But when you talk about an animal cell, so in animal cell we will only discuss about we are only going to discuss about the plasma membrane. Okay, we will be discussing plasma membrane only. Okay, plasma membrane. Understood? So that is a very first difference that we are going to see. So see, cells of human cheek, right? They are having outer membrane as delimiting structure of the cell, the outer boundary, right? So that will be the cell membrane only. And here we are going to see that in each cell there is a dense membrane bound structure, that is nucleus. Okay, that is nucleus. So nucleus will be there in this. Okay, so nucleus will have chromosomes, right, which is basically what? The genetic material, right? So DNA, histone proteins and some other proteins, they are coiling. They are making that chromosomes which are present in a nucleus. So nucleus is also a membrane bound structure, right? It's a double membrane bound structure. Okay, it is what? It's a, you can also write it here, it's a double membrane bound structure. Okay, so now cells that have membrane bound nuclei, they are the eukaryotic cell. They are giving us that overview now. So cells where you will see membrane bound nuclei. Nuclei is basically plural. Okay, it is the plural of nucleus. So nucleus is singular, nuclei plural. Nucleus is singular, nuclei plural, right students? So so cells that are having membrane bound nucleus, they are called eukaryotic, whereas cells that lack a membrane bound nucleus, cells that lack a membrane bound nucleus, they are prokaryotic. Right, they are prokaryotic. So in the case of prokaryotes, if in statement based question they are asking it like this, that the cells where membrane bound nucleus is not there, because sometimes we say prokaryotes, they don't have nucleus, we simply use the term nucleoid. Okay, Dushyant, we simply use the word nucleoid. Okay, but yes, you can also say non-membrane bound nucleus. For this nucleoid, you can also use the term, non-membrane bound nucleus. Is that clear? Is that clear? Right. So in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, there is a semi-fluid matrix called cytoplasm. Okay. So it is basically occupying the volume of the cell. So cytoplasm is also there in that particular cell, right? That semi-fluid. It is not watery, it is not solid, it is semi-fluid matrix. So cytoplasm is the main arena of cellular activities in both plant cell and animal cells, right? So it is the main area, basically you can say main place where cellular activities, or you can say that metabolism is going on. So let me tell you students, it is also a previous year question. It is also a previous year question. If you will solve previous year questions, bache, if you people will solve previous year question, you are going to get this particular question there. Okay. So various chemical reactions, they will occur in the cell to keep it in living state. Now, I'll explain it a bit. Metabolism. What is the meaning of metabolism, students? Tell me, what is the meaning of metabolism? Quick. What is the meaning of metabolism? Anyone in the class? Anyone in the class? Student sessions should be interactive. I just don't want you people to come and to write. If I'm asking any question, please answer it in the comment section. Though it's a YouTube session, but let's make it interactive. Okay, so metabolism means the chemical reactions that are going on in our body, right? It means the chemical reactions that are going on, right, that are going on. And these chemical reactions are very important, bache. These chemical reactions are keeping us alive. If there will be no chemical reaction, means that structure is not living at all, right? We also discuss it in the chapter living world. Okay, we will also start on the YouTube itself. We will discuss the chapter living world. So in living world now, we discuss some defining properties, some characteristic properties, right? We discuss some defining properties, some characteristic properties. Okay, bache, we also discuss that. So I'll highlight one thing here. I'll mention one thing here, that in living world we discuss that metabolism is the defining property. What is it? It is the defining property, right? What is it? It is the defining property, the metabolism, right? So it means that in all the living organisms, if something is living, metabolism, that is chemical reactions are going on. So metabolism include two things. One is catabolism and another is anabolism. These are the basic things that you should know. One is catabolism, another is anabolism. So cata means cut. Cata means cut. What's the meaning of cata? Means cut. Cut. Cata. From cata you have to remember cut. From kata, you have to remember cut. So cut means break down, right? Break down, to break something. So catabolism means it includes the reaction where there will be the breakdown of something. So of course, anabolism will be the opposite, means build up. So together, this building up and breaking down, together it is basically keeping us alive. It is basically making the metabolism. So these are the chemical reactions. So that is why here in NCERT they have mentioned various chemical reactions occur in it. Where? In the cytoplasm, and they are keeping us alive. Okay, they are keeping us alive. That is what you need to understand. Now let's move to the next part. So besides the nucleus, means in addition to nucleus, okay, in addition to nucleus, eukaryotic cells, they have other membrane bound structures. We call them as cell organelles. We have different cell organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosome, mitochondria, microbodies, vacuoles. We will discuss it. And prokaryotic cells, they lack membrane bound organelles. They don't have membrane bound organelles. Prokaryotic cells will make one envelope system, and we will talk about it. So here also, or in your notes you can mention it, that when we talk about the prokaryotic cell, there is only one organelle bache, that is ribosome, and that ribosome is also a non-membrane bound organelle. It is not covered by any membrane. Okay, see, this is also they have mentioned that ribosomes, they are non-membrane bound organelle which is found in all cells, right? So it is in eukaryotic cells also, it is in prokaryotic cells also. So that is why ribosome is also known as universal organelle. We also call it as universal organelle. What do we call it? We also call it as universal organelle because it is present in prokaryotic cell as well as in the eukaryotic cell. Clear, bache? So within the cell, ribosomes are found not only in the cytoplasm but also within the two organelles. Like in the prokaryotes or eukaryotes, ribosomes will be there in the cytoplasm, but in eukaryotes we will also see that they are present in the mitochondria, they are present in the chloroplast, plus they are present on endoplasmic reticulum and will make it rough endoplasmic reticulum, right, bache? So these examples are important, right? Where are you going to find the ribosome? Are they membrane bound organelle or not? So same way, animal cells, it is also unique to animal cells, that in animal cells another non-membrane bound organelle, means it is not covered with any membrane, it is the centrosome. So that is also a previous year question, students, and one by one we are going to discuss these organelles in detail. Okay, we are going to discuss it in detail. So here is the picture. You guys can see the different types of cells, right, bache? So these are the RBCs, round and biconcave, right? In the case of mammals, we are going to see such type of RBCs. But yes, we have an exception also, right? Camel. Camel is also a mammal, but in the camel, the RBCs, they will be oval, they will be nucleated. So that is your homework, right? Other than camel, there is one more exception. You have to tell it to me in the comment section. Now WBCs, white blood cells. We are using the word amoeboid here. Why? Because they are having different shapes, right? The cells are having different shapes. So they are nucleated. They have the nucleus. Okay, and you should know the size here of RBC, 7 micrometer, right? Then columnar epithelial cells. They are long and cylinder, bache. They are also known as pillar cells, right? Their nucleus is present at their base, so they are basically tall and cylinder. They are making columnar epithelial, right? It is the columnar cells. But a nerve cell, branched and long. It is the longest cell in our body. It is the longest cell of our body. So you know that it looks like a tree because its function is in that way. So the dendrites, the cell body, the axon endings, and here it is the trachea. Right, it is the trachea, it's a part of xylem. You know na, xylem, which will supply water and minerals, xylem. So it's the part of xylem, it's a dead cell, students, right? It's a dead cell. Okay, so these are the cells of mesophyll, round and oval. They are the parenchyma cells, they are living. So basically here we can see different types of cells, right? Different types of cells, okay, and that is what you need to remember also. Fine. Next, so cells, as I said, greatly differ in their size, shape and activities. So mycoplasma, bache, that is a very important point. That is a very important point. Okay, please write down what is mycoplasma. What is mycoplasma? Students, we will discuss bacterial cell in detail also. So in the case of bacteria, we are going to see that there will be a cell wall. What are we going to see in the case of bacteria? We will see that there will be a cell wall in the case of bacteria. There will be a cell wall in the case of bacteria. But mycoplasma, it is a bacteria which is without a cell wall, right? You really need to remember that. It's a bacteria which is without a cell wall. So what is the function of cell wall? To give that cell a proper shape? Yes or no? To give that cell a proper shape, that is the function of the cell wall, right? So now because it is without cell wall, so it will not having no definite shape, isn't it? So we also call it as jokers of microbiological part of that. They are the jokers of, yes students, Jokers of what? Jokers of plant kingdom of or microbiological park. So they don't have the proper shape, and it is the smallest living cell. It is considered as what? It is considered as the smallest living cell. So it is pleomorphic, right? So pleomorphic means it is having different shapes. Okay, it is having different shapes. It is having different shapes. So it is the smallest living cell, 0.3 micrometer, right? These are the dimensions. These are the dimensions. And let me tell you, among these mycoplasma, we have PPLO, that is pleuropneumonia like organism. What is it? It is pleuropneumonia like organism, and they are 0.1 micrometer. Right, so it is the smallest living organism, no proper shape, without cell wall, and it can also survive without oxygen. Means it is not going to prefer to live without oxygen, but yes, it can also survive without oxygen. So that is what you have to remember. So this is the only bacteria which is without cell wall. So the antibiotics that target the cell wall, such antibiotics, they are not going to affect the mycoplasma. Okay, so you guys can see it is the smallest cell, right? It is the smallest cell, only 0.3 micrometer in length. That's a PYQ. And overall bacteria, it can be right from 3 to 5 micrometer. So largest isolated single cell is the egg of an ostrich. So among multicellular organisms, human RBC, which is 7 micrometer in diameter, I have mentioned it already, right? So nerve cells, they are the longest cells. Cells also vary greatly in their shape, like disc-like, polygonal, columnar, cuboid, even irregular. Okay, so it is as per their function, right? So the next thing that we need to discuss is prokaryotic cell, and that we will do in our next class. Fine, right? In our next class, let's discuss the prokaryotic cell. So see, the lectures, they are amazing, right? You know that content wise we are not at all compromising, plus we are also discussing NCERT in our live sessions. So guys, start studying, start revising, and just leave all the negativity behind. Okay, you just put your efforts and definitely you are going to get your results. So take care, study well. I'll share the PDF. Okay, though it is not required, I think you people should make your own notes, right? So I will share the PDF of it in our official Telegram channel, that is Unacademy NEET English Telegram. Okay, understood? So I will share it there. So make sure you put a make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe the channel, and please write whatever homework questions I have given you. Please mention the answers in the comment section. So if you like it, do let me know in the comment section, right? So take care. Thank you.